Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Another lovely week here. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Mine, it was great. I ate, and I ate. Um, to some, it's Happy Indigenous Day. To some, everybody's got their own mind and frame of thought of thinking of it. The point is being together with your family. Try to keep, especially this holiday season, even if it's through Zoom, try to keep close to your family because that's all at the end of the day we all have. Today, I have such a special show lined up for you guys. I have a very special guest whose birthday's today. That's our secret. So, you guys, please, if you guys could, wish him a happy birthday as you guys tune into the show. Happy birthday, Jason. And so, I wanted to remind you guys, please, 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 COVID is still out there. Wear your mask. Wear your mask not only for your health, for others. You never know what anyone has going on that you have no clue about, and even they have no clue about. So please, you guys hear the horror stories over and over again. Just be mindful of others. You should already be washing and sanitizing your hands. Continue doing so. Please, please do so. I'm so excited to say. So this came in the mail yesterday. So it's my lunchtime, and I'm actually drinking coffee from it. My lunchtime with Anna mug that I got from Samori McPherson with Elevated Shift. Thank you, as always, Samori. Um, I received that from him, but I also received these. And you guys, this will be the movie that I come out in, Love Song and Power. Please make sure that you get you one and purchase this merchandise because this movie's going to be so good. Not because I'm in it, but it is a good movie. You didn't hear that from me. Um, so I wanted to thank Samori McPherson. The way that you could reach him is elevated shift embroid at gmail.com. When you guys message him, please be sure to tell him Lunchtime with Anna sent you, that you want some Lunchtime with Anna and Love Song and Power furniture. This shirt is also Lunchtime with Anna and Love Song and Power. Movie will be airing next year. I am so excited about it. So excited about it. I also wanted to show you guys something. Hang on. So, like, I'm excited because all of this came in the mail yesterday. If you guys need coasters, even as Christmas gifts, okay, get get them. They're very reasonable. Movie I come out in, my show Lunchtime with Anna. So, anyhow, I just wanted to say that. Now, to my special guest I have here on the show, Jason. Jason is going to tell his story of his brush with death, not just once, but twice, and the effect that it has, and how God is always here through the mix of everything, and how God was there. And I just want you guys to see that we all have a purpose, especially this holiday season. Oh, before I forget, I also got, I so many people responded via email and stuff and through the comments. So I picked one person who sent comments or commented under, and I sent another person. I picked another person to send a special Christmas gift from me. So whatever you guys get will be signed by me and will be sent from me. So I'll make sure that they get that out to you guys as soon as possible. And Merry Christmas from Lunchtime with Anna. Love you guys. So I picked two instead of one. I'm in a giving mood. So what I wanted to talk about was, so Jason, his story just captivated me. So I'll tell you guys how I met Jason, who's here.
Hey, everybody.
So I was at a movie set, and I'm usually very quiet. I might say, "Hey," whatever. So we're kind of put on this part where we're back in the '80s, right?
Right. Yeah.
Movie set from the '80s. I don't want to say too much, but we're back in the '80s, and you guys know how fun the '80s were. My hair was orchid at that time. You guys know I constantly changed my hair color.
Yeah.
And then Jason and I just started talking. We talked about autism. We have that in common. And, he can maybe talk about that if he'd like in the show. If not, that's okay. That's his private, personal life. But we also talked about his brush with death. We talked about my show. And if anybody's been on a movie set, you wait 4 hours, literally doing nothing. It's like the easiest money you'll ever make. Am I wrong? Am I lying?
No, it's true. It's true. It is.
And so it was really a great experience. At least it was for me. I met not only Jason, I met some wonderful people on set who we actually do talk often through a message that Jason made via Messenger. So we're all in communication or whatever. So Jason, I've given the whole hype up. You guys, happy birthday to Jason. Happy birthday. What's your plan for today? How old are you? 29?
I am 43.
43. Not 29?
Not 29, no. I wish. But that was a while ago now.
So, any plans for today?
Not really. No, just work, this show, my kids later on. That's pretty much it.
You rock.
43,
Amen. But I want to start by kind of asking, because you're celebrating your 43rd.
Correct.
19 years ago, you probably weren't here. I was having a little bit of a problem getting the video on air. I tried getting it on air to show people what happened, but natives from here from the state of Georgia might recall your story.
Right.
Do you want to start there, or do you want to start a little bit further back before the accident?
No, we'll start at the accident. It was actually 21 years ago. It was
21. I'm sorry.
You're fine. 1999. And basically, me and my friends were out. I was jet skiing, and they were water skiing. And basically, the story goes is they looked over. I was jet skiing, and they looked over again. And I was face down in the water. And they came over, tried to pull me out, and they got me out. And I was basically blue from the waist up. And basically, one of my friends came in, tried to give me CPR, but she was getting sick because I was basically, water was coming out of my mouth. And a certified lifeguard so happened to be riding by and basically revived me and brought me back to life. I don't remember anything the day before. I kind of remember like the evening portion. But that day, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything the next day, or Wednesday is kind of when I came through and started to be coherent to life again. The Tuesday, I guess I was awake out of the coma, the small coma I was in, but I don't remember anything about it whatsoever. And then basically, I just had to learn how to do everything again. Walk, hold things, anything like that. Had to reprogram my brain to basically function again. I can't hear you.
So I saw the video. Mm-hmm. It was, wow. Wow. You were young.
I was.
Still young.
21.
Still young.
Mm-hmm.
Full of life. You get yourself a jet ski because you're like, I I got the money. I'm young. I
That's
want
right.
to spend on a jet ski. I'm going to spend on a jet ski. How many times had you gotten on your new jet ski
How many,
before that accident?
how many times did I ride it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that summer I was on it probably every day. But that was late May, so that was kind of like my workout routine because it's pretty intense when you do it. But you know, you get good and you start doing tricks, and then you start finding bigger waves and stuff like that. And so basically, that's kind of sort of how I got there. But I think that was the only year I had it. I can't remember if I had it the year before or not. I think I had it, but we just didn't use it that much. And basically, I ended up just hitting my head in the back of the jet ski. I don't know if you guys can see. Wrong way. You can't really see it, but there's a scar right here. It's pretty large. I think I had 14 staples. And so, yeah. But I was actually getting pretty good. It was kind of discouraging afterwards, but
a lot of people don't stop. A lot of people enjoy the rush. I mean, anybody who's gone jet skiing, I love jet skiing. I love surfing. Believe it or not, I used to do it a lot when I was by the beach, stuff like that, because that's what you have, water, and that's what the kind of stuff you do, right? Volleyball and stuff like that on that type of weather. So, so it totally discouraged you. You're totally like, nope.
Well, no, I think a lot of people discouraged for me to do it. They probably would have killed me if I had done it again because it scared a lot of people. But just to make it, it was actually one of the stand-up jet skis. So it's like the old school jet ski. It's not like one of those ones where you sit down and ride. It's the ones where you like stand up and you have to hold your balance and all that. And only thing I can figure out had happened is that it had a rubber mat at the bottom. And with the algae in the lake, it would get like really slick. So you would wedge your feet between the inside so it would be less slippery. And then I guess I slipped and held on and hit my head on the back. That's the only thing I can nobody saw it. They just saw me face down. I don't remember it. So that's the only thing. I can't hear you again.
We're going to go into that. I mute myself so that I can cancel out any noise here in my background because I have noise. Right. So I apologize for that. So you're in this jet ski. This was what you loved. Mm-hmm. Your passion for that summer, right?
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're there, you said, with friends.
Yeah.
I could imagine your mother's reaction. Well, I couldn't even imagine. Let me just start there. Hearing or even watching on the news that her baby had a serious accident. What has she told you that was like for her?
I mean, the only thing we've ever really discussed about it was that the doctors basically said I was going to be a vegetable when I woke up from my coma because they're estimating about being basically dead for about 10 minutes. So they weren't really sure what my functionality would be. They knew I was alive, but as far as brain activity and stuff like that, they didn't really know. My dad was in New Jersey, used to travel a lot, so he took a flight back down. I really don't know when he actually got there, but that's really all we really talked about. I know that my mom talked about like trying to find the guy that brought me back, but I know we reached out to him and he never really responded. But really, that's all we've ever really talked about it. It's kind of like a second birthday every year. It's kind of like a big deal. You muted again.
Do you still remember the date?
Yeah, May 17th, 1999.
May 17th, 1999. May 17th, 1999. It's got to be unforgettable for the rest of anybody's life. I have a few questions to ask, but I want to go back to those times where you're sitting here, you're in a hospital bed. How long were you in the hospital for after the accident? Because you have to be retrained to do a lot of things, correct?
Yeah, it's like 5 days. After I came out of the coma, it kind of went really fast. They basically had rehab to like learn how to walk, and I did that like once or twice, and it was just really just reprogramming my brain to walk again and stuff. And it is a little different. It's different for me than it was before the accident, because it's like this little voice in my back of my brain that I always hear, like, okay, walk, and holding things. I have to, it kind of reprogrammed, but there was a voice that had to keep telling myself over and over again not to drop something or to hold on to something or that type of thing. But I went pretty quick. I think it was like they had like a little bit of a hospital rehab just to be functional. And then they sent me to the Shepherd Center. And at the Shepherd Center, I think I went once or twice. And by that time, I had already regained everything. Just really the retraining of remembering to do things like holding things, and which comes natural before the accident, which didn't come natural after. It was basically repetition of telling myself over and over to not drop something or pay attention to my left hand because it says something in it or something like that,
So, and I know with brain trauma, a lot comes with that, because it's not only remembering how to hold things, it's walking, something as simple as paying a bill.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when there is brain trauma, and this is for the listening audience as well, and it's also a question to you, was there behavior changes within that time?
At that time after my accident, yeah, it was very I'm sure some people get depressed, but I was like I felt immortal, really. At the end of the day, it's like I just got through a death experience, and like I wanted to go skydiving, I wanted to do all these things, and never ended up doing it. But it was just this euphoric high but I was young too. So I mean, I was 21 years old, so it made a kind of a big difference. I think if I had the same experience now, it'd be a little different. But back then it was okay. Well, let's do some crazy stuff and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, absolutely. You know you have brain trauma. Mm-hmm. I asked you pre-interview, and I told Jason, I said, I'd love to pre-interview because it'll make it just so much easier, because you'll just be like, oh, okay, we just talked about this. So right. You're there in the hospital. I would say maybe 2 weeks, a month.
No, I was 5 days. I wasn't there, maybe 6 days.
Wow.
Because really, it was more of the busy functional. They were more concerned whether I was going to have a seizure or not afterwards.
Absolutely.
Some seizure medication, so I couldn't drive for like, I don't know, a month or two or something like that. But I recovered very fast for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I started doing it, I started picking it up again. And like I said, the hardest part was holding stuff and remembering to hold stuff. I know in our pre-interview, I mentioned I worked in a restaurant at the time, and it was really difficult to carry like large things of soup across the kitchen because I was a cook, and I had to remember to hold and hold and hold, and a few times it didn't work. So
to your advantage, of course. So you're there. Mm-hmm. you've had this accident. I'm sure mom is like, it's a miracle, and dad,
Yep.
my baby, because it doesn't matter how old we get. I'm sure you know now with your children.
I do.
My baby's alive. I'm very fortunate, and I can thank nobody but our maker, right?
Right.
How do you think that was for mom and dad? How do you think, have they ever expressed to you, Jason, this is what I went through?
My dad.
Has that even been a conversation?
No, my mom mentions it every year. She calls and gives me a little tiny speech about it. My dad never really said anything. He passed away in 2002, so it was only a few years later, but he never really mentioned a whole lot about it or anything like that. But he was kind of a quiet guy, so it was kind of like he never really said a whole lot. But yeah, my mom mentions it about, every year. She'll send me a text message and, like I forgot,
Yeah, to tell you happy birthday, baby.
Yeah. Number 2, right?
Yeah, you live again. And that's understandable. I'm a mom. That is normal.
Yeah.
She is loving her baby. And that's something really hard, I think, for any of us mothers to come to the conclusion of, I almost didn't have my baby here anymore. We're supposed to bury, our children are supposed to bury us. We're not supposed to bury them, according to the Bible, correct? I mean, things happen, and sometimes, the circle of life changes, but I couldn't even imagine. As I was interviewing pre-show Jason, I was listening to while he was telling the story. And, although you say at that time, it was easy for me.
Right.
I believe that a lot of times with brain trauma, right, according to what I learned in medical training, we think we're okay, but others actually see changes that they're like, wait a minute, that's not Jason.
Right.
That's not the Jason that I know. Was that your case? Do you think, has anyone came back to you and say, look, Jason, you're doing this and it's just not normal. It's not you.
Not really. I think I became a little more open to things, a little more outgoing.
So it was a good thing.
Yeah, it was a good thing. Yeah.
Well, we met on set, right?
Right. Yeah. It's true. In my rocket popsicle shirt.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I guess, yeah. So, because I suffer from epilepsy, and I don't know if I told you that during the short period we did talk that day. So I do know what it is to take seizure medication. I do know what it is to have those changes in behaviors. I do know how it feels for your short-term memory to just be like,
yeah.
And people around you will really think you're lying. But
Right.
you forget for that short period.
I get it all the time still. I still get that same thing. Like, how do you not remember that? I'm like, I know. And for me, especially after the accident, my short-term memory is nothing. Like I can remember certain things because I'm a very logical person. So if I put in logical form, I'll remember some things. But as far as like, if I don't put it in the long term, it just goes. So short term is very short, like names, pretty decent with numbers still because it's kind of logical. But I think I explained to you in our pre-interview, like one of the weird things that has happened is when I watch a movie now, I watch a movie and I know the movie. If you ask me about it, I'm like, yeah, I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. But before the accident, I could tell you movies and what they're about and pieces and everything now that I watched before my accident. So it's kind of strange like that, where like if I really got to focus on putting it into long term, or it just doesn't. But my long term from before is still there. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of times that happens, or other times, you know, if you have full, because you said no seizures, seizures free, correct?
Nope, no seizures.
You do know that when God brings us back, he brings us back whole. And you're whole. Like
except for my memory. My memory's gone, but I got the rest.
But see, you know what? There's actually things that you can do even for that. And I'll talk to you off air, and because I've had to do it. Like with my short-term memory, sometimes it's not even that I forget for sure. I forget for that little while, but it comes back and I'm like, wait a minute, this person tried to get over on me because they know that my short-term sometimes, but it's not that bad to where it's like, I don't remember, period, but I might not remember little things that second, and I'll be like, and then it'll come back to me, okay, I did say that, or we did do that. And I'm sure that's the case for you too, correct?
Yeah, I mean, for conversations I typically remember, but like things I did or little things like that, I was pretty good at remembering conversations, even still. But just remembering like, oh, where did I put my keys? Yeah, who knows? Yeah. So I got into a habit of always having them in the same place. I did that. I do that a lot with stuff. So.
Well, see, that's what I was going to tell you. Things, little things like that. Like I have a plate that has like my jewelry. When I come in the house, normally I come and put everything there, phone or, you know, other things. And then I know it's there, my keys, so forth, so on. So I know it's always in the same spot. If it's been moved, somebody moved it, because I know that that's what I do when I walk in the house. You know, and of course, you're usually going to carry your phone again for the simple reason that it's your phone. You have to grab it, it rings, or so forth, so on. But, you know, overall, that's what I do. I have a little plate, a nice, pretty little plate that I put my stuff in. And it's right there at the door, so I know when I'm walking out, I also get it. Or if there's something that I need to take out because I don't want to forget it, and it's, you know, if it's on the plate, it's right there by the plate or on the plate by my front door to make sure that, you know, I get out on time. Now, Jason, you had this accident.
Yep.
You're like, I'm gonna live life. But guess what? I'm immortal, because that's what we think at that age. It's the truth. Okay? I'm immortal. I'm going to live life. I'm going to go out. Whatever partying is, everybody calls it something different. I'm going to party, whatever. And I'm going to continue living. Through any of this point, when you're thinking to yourself, God, you gave me a chance. What am I doing?
I mean, really, in those days, I've always been like super responsible. So, you know, always went to work. I wasn't one of those people that, you know, went out all night and never went to work or anything like that, or called in or anything like that. So it really didn't cross my mind. I mean, as long as I'm still being responsible and not doing something super, super crazy.
Absolutely.
You know, I think, yeah, for the most part. And then, you know, really afterwards, I bought my first house and kind of did all those things and started my career. And it's kind of propelled me into another form of other things too.
How is that? Like getting your house? I'm telling you, it's like God gave you like this whole, I'm telling you, it's like, okay.
It was, it all kind of happened with it. I mean, I probably bought my house in September of that year. So it was like super quick after that. And I think I was there for 3 years or something like that before I moved. But And I worked in a restaurant at that time, I think like 7 years. So the same restaurant. So all the people that I was, that came to the hospital and stuff, they were all my friends. We all grew up together. We're all still friends today, and stuff like that. So, but yeah. I mean, I think I felt immortal, and I went out and did maybe more than I should have, but also maybe really responsible as well. So kind of didn't take it too for granted, I guess.
And that's a good thing, because usually at that age, we don't know how to appreciate much of anything.
Yeah, at
so
21, I was probably just being an average 21-year-old at the time anyways. I mean, it wasn't like super crazy or anything like that.
You turn around, you get the second chance at life, get a house,
Yep.
have all kinds of other good things going on, still have short-term, long-term memory. Through this time, because we're going to go through, you guys, Jason doesn't only die once and comes back. This happens the second time, which we're going to go into in just a few minutes.
Well, I wasn't quite dead the second time, but it was
close enough.
It was super close.
Close enough. You turn around, you're pretty much just living life.
Yep.
The way each and every one have to live in the American dream, as we call it, correct?
Right.
You turn around and are out and about and go to eat.
I did. Something safe, too.
Okay, so he was eating healthy.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it wasn't horrible.
Yeah. So healthier than most of us, right? So you can go ahead and tell it, Jason.
Okay. So yeah, this was like 3 years ago. A little fuzzy on the exact date. But we went and got some Kroger, like those little ham and turkey wraps that you get, and ate a couple of those and started having a little bit of an allergic reaction. And it was really weird because I've ate that stuff before, and I've had minor allergic reactions in the past from something in the air somewhere, but I had some Benadryl, and you just take it. So we ended up going to CVS, get some children's Benadryl, drank it, and it was really weird. Never experienced anything that bad before. So we weren't really exactly sure what it was. So I go on, and I have another allergic reaction, and then I have another one, and then we started saving labels, trying to figure out exactly what it was, and we've determined from the common thing was sesame seeds. So apparently, at 40 years old, I developed a allergic reaction to sesame. I had another pretty bad reaction to it. A few times, but it was more of the sesame seed oil we figured out than the actual seeds. The seeds kind of gave me a little bit of a reaction, but the oil, anything with oil in it would like. So a couple of years ago, my girlfriend came over and brought me some lunch. She used to work right across the street. My girlfriend at the time, and she gave me some chicken, and I ate it. And she literally worked like you could walk. It's like next door. And by the time she had got there, I called her. And I was like, I'm starting to have a reaction. Like it's really happening fast. Cause usually I'll start to feel it like in my feet a little bit, and then my hands, and I'll start getting a little itchy. And it usually takes about 20, 30, 40 minutes. But this time it was like in minutes. So I took like a pill. I didn't have like the little allergy pills instead of the actual children's, because that's all I had. And we had a couch. I own a warehouse out in Buford, and we had a couch in our lobby. So I went and laid down on the couch and sat there for a minute. And I called her back. I'm like, "You're gonna have to come back here." And so I got up and went in the back. It's a warehouse, so it's front office and there's a warehouse. So I go in the back. She's on her way here, and I basically looked at my shipping guy and was like, "Call 911," and I fell to the floor. And this was all within maybe 10 minutes. And I was on the ground, and I was starting to slowly lose function. So, it was like attacking me pretty well, neurologically, all that stuff, to the point where I had to start telling myself to breathe. My throat was closing, and it gotten to the point where I was actually stopped breathing, and I couldn't tell myself to breathe anymore. So at that time, probably about maybe a minute and a half later, they had come in, the EMTs came in and shot me with the EpiPen, and I came right back. But that was a pretty big, it was quick. That was the scary part of it. So that's the major one. Then a year later, I had another reaction that was actually smaller. I didn't die, but it really messed me up mentally. Like a lot of couldn't remember anything, was really fuzzy, just kind of muddling through the day type stuff. Like I said, it wasn't really serious as far as death, but as far as messing me up day to day, that one was probably worse mentally than it was the first one.
Wow. So technically 3 times.
Yeah, I didn't die the second, the second allergic reaction, but like I said, it was very mentally. Took me months to regain all my function back. Just, remembering
Absolutely.
stuff, and now it's moved into a PTSD. Because now things that I think are safe aren't safe anymore. Company changes a recipe, and that actually has happened quite a few times now, where I used to eat Boca burgers. No, can't do those anymore. Now they have sesame. I think I mentioned to you in our interview the little Eval portobello mushroom raviolis. So if anybody had those, they're actually amazing. I can't eat them anymore, so maybe somebody else can. But I was actually in New Jersey and work in a hotel room, and luckily there was a Target right next door where I actually went to go buy them. And I'd been eating those for years, ate one and had an allergic reaction pretty bad right there. Obviously not near death, but what had happened with all these reactions from eating all these what I thought was safe foods, it's created PTSD to where my brain actually recreates the allergic reaction if I don't know 100% of what I'm eating. So if I eat an apple or a banana, I'm fine. I eat something with ingredients, basically this year from June to August, I was a disaster. 10 anxiety attacks a day was normal because my brain literally fell. I actually went to the doctor because my brain was telling me, telling my body that my throat was closing. I felt like it was closing all day long. And the doctor's like, your throat's just fine. And then they, sent me to a psychiatrist, and basically they said, your brain's playing tricks on you and you got some PTSD, and it's not, it's not, your brain's just not working right. And I seem to be fine now. I also eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, and meat because it's safe, and don't eat stuff with a whole lot of ingredients. If it's got too many in there, I don't even try it.
Absolutely. Wow. I will say this, and along with this post, I will give a number that if you guys need to seek mental health, it is very crucial and vital for you to reach out to somebody, because a lot of times for him it was my mind is playing tricks on me. And I'm glad he came to this topic because I was going to go next into this. So it's good. We're thinking the same.
Well, but the thing is too, like during those time periods, like not that I was suicidal, but I understood now why people can get that way when they have PTSD, or like the football players who have issues and stuff like that. I totally get it, because you can't control what is happening. You can't control your brain whatsoever. It's just doing whatever it wants to. And when it came to the food, like anxiety was like, medicine didn't work. I could take, you know, they had me on some anxiety meds, and sometimes it actually made it worse. So, so that was the hard thing, is like I couldn't eat anything, and like, you know, so it would become, I never kind of understood until I went through it. Like, I get it, because you can't stop the thoughts, and it's hard.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's physical as well. It's also, for me, it was also physical. It wasn't just mental. Like, you know, I've had anxiety attacks where it's like, okay, just start breathing. But for me, like, it was physical, and and I got sick. Like, I was in and out of the hospital for months, and they couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. And I think now that most of it was just my brain playing tricks on me for the most part.
And that's what happens with mental health. And people don't understand that we need treatment. And sometimes we're so depressed or sad or anxious that we don't even realize what we're doing to ourselves and to others, because that is the truth and the reality of what happens. Mm-hmm. I think, and I believe, Jason, after speaking to you and hearing this incredible story, that a lot of it was maybe from your past, the accident that happened, the fact that you could turn around and say, I'm living again. Then I almost died again. Then I'm living again. Then I almost died again. And I'm not getting any younger, you know? And it's normal. You've done nothing wrong but react how any normal human being would react, you know? You then turn around, you're seeking mental health. I can imagine the primary care doctor was like, look, and it, you know, for men, I think it's a lot harder than it is for women to admit I have a problem. And it's not even I have a problem like that. It's I have a problem due to CPTSD or PTSD or major anxiety disorder, panic attacks, so forth, so on. When this goes on, and you're trying to explain to the psychologist, I'm sorry, look, this is what's happening. It seems normal to me. My brain tells me, I know it's wrong, but my brain tells me. And you guys, I've been very transparent about my life. I can only relate to Jason so well because I also suffer CPTSD due to domestic issues from 20-something years ago. And I never seek treatment till a few years ago. And now is where I can finally talk about it. So Jason, I totally get it. You know, I totally get it. How hard is it for you to explain to anybody around you, look, this is what's going on? Because I can imagine a lot of times in relationships, this is even hard for another human being to understand. The man's supposed to do this. The man's supposed to do that. This is expected from you. Men don't get depressed. And I get it. I get it.
Mm. Well, really, it wasn't that difficult for me to admit there was a problem, because for me, it was very alarming. I am a doer. I get it done. And there was something stopping me from doing that. So it was very easy for me to be, okay, like something's just not right. I know that my girlfriend at the time, like I had to sit her down and be like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but there's something not right. I don't have feelings for anything, but I had deadened feelings in my brain. And it wasn't because I didn't love her or love my kids. It was everybody. Like I just I didn't want to go to work. And it wasn't that I hated work or anything like that. I just couldn't at the time. Like I had just this dead, like my brain just wasn't working. And I knew, obviously, I loved her, and I knew I loved my kids, and I knew it was all there. It didn't change. Like that didn't change. It was just like the feeling was dead, and it was just everything in my entire life. There was nothing, and I think I had dealt with so much brain-wise that it just shut off. And I just mean everything. Like I just struggled, and I just got out of the hospital right after that. And stuff like that. So they actually thought it was probably my brain playing tricks on me again, but I was simulating a heart attack. And I didn't actually have one. All my tests came back great. But it was just my mind playing tricks. And then just, I don't know, I think at that time it just like kind of gave up on trying to whatever it was trying to do. And then I don't know, it just kind of went away. I think like once I like really started just focusing on fruits, vegetables, and meat. I can't eat if you're gonna put seasoning on it, like it has to be a seasoning that I own and I already know that it's safe. And I think it actually really quickly went away. Because that's basically what I eat now, and mostly all day: fruits, vegetables, foods that are safe. But then again, like I said, in the past, some of them became unsafe, and we had some. But yeah, it definitely affected things. Like relationships at that time period.
Absolutely.
So
I totally get it. I totally get it in different ways, because in a lot of times people don't understand. Jason, for example, almost lost his life 3 times. Can you just imagine just that brush of knowing, well, what if? And that thought is always going to be somewhere in the back of your mind. What if I would have never made it? What about my children? What about my mom? What about people I love and care for? What about close friends, family, my dad, whatever? What about that? And I'm sure that that's been a lot of what it's traumatizing for anybody, truthfully.
Well, my kids have seen a lot of the allergic reactions. They've been there. So, it's happened in front of them. So they already kind of know the routine, like the EpiPen's here, the EpiPen's there. Like there's certain areas that it stays, like it stays in my car. And it stays in the, the medicine cabinet in the kitchen. So when I'm driving around, I always have an EpiPen with me. But so they've seen things too. So it's not even, like I hit it or anything like that. It's going to happen right in front of them. But yeah, that was a few months ago now. And like I said, everything seems to be good now as far as that goes. I'm not having the anxiety attacks like I was. And I mean, like I said, it was about probably 10 a day, like easy.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay. And you know what? You're that much more of what I call a man. And they know in this show that I don't call too many men man. But a man is a guy that can admit or do things that other men will not stand up to do. That's a man to me. And like I said, to go through that and be able to admit, look, I have a problem. I know I have a problem. I'm losing my mind. How long did it take the treatment to kick in? And you'd be like, I can breathe.
Well, the funny part about the treatment is I have been diagnosed, but I haven't actually done any treatment because the person that was supposed to be doing the treatment has not responded. So one of the reasons was when I actually did my intake interview with her, she was concerned that because of my first accident, my accident years ago, that I have retrained my brain, and the techniques that she was going to use may not work for me, is what she said.
Oh.
So it'd be because, like I said, a lot of things do differently. While it looks normal to everybody now, I know it's different because I know the difference. So, like I was explaining to you in our pre-interview, like, as a baby, you pick up something and you just do it. For me, it's the same way now, but that's been years of that little thing in the back of my brain saying, hold this or walk or whatever. So, but as far as that, yeah, they haven't really done really anything. I mean, that was supposed to be like September, so it hasn't been like a super long time. But she was a little unsure of what she could actually do for me. So I think she's kind of.
So she actually deals with trauma. But I could imagine trauma in a different way, because different type of trauma, more mental, rather than physical, and having to retrain yourself to do many things. During this time, have you actually found an encounter with the Lord or with any other higher being that you're like, if it wasn't for you, I would have never made it through this?
Yeah, I mean, more through my first accident, because I mean that was like I was dead. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that was a long time. It was 10 minutes. So it definitely probably reassured, for the higher power and that type of thing. And while I was probably a little more crazy at the time than I would have been, like I still respected, that I was still alive and made it through all that. And, I think I basically just, just reaffirmed everything.
So, and I only ask that because for me, if I tell you my story, you'll be like, I can understand why. Because only He can pull us through anything, right? I believe. Because I believe the enemy is out here to kill, steal, and destroy. I mean, I can go down my feed every day and just read a story and just get drained out on the fact that, wow, you're actually being attacked, To think that through this, you're still like humble. You still seek help.
Right.
I can give you the number to a great psychologist whom you can speak with, and to me, was a life-changing.
Okay.
If you'd like, and of course, I'll do that off air. I don't need everybody looking to see where we go to the doctor.
Right.
So, and like I tell people, don't be embarrassed of mental health. We all go through something sometime in our lives, and sometimes we just need redirection, and then we're back. Until a person actually suffers from any type of mental issue or anything like that, you will not understand the fact of why people are suicidal, why people will not get up and maybe clean a house, clean a room, clean their car. You know, and this world is so cruel that sometimes you'll see people make these crazy comments. Sometimes a person doesn't even want to get up and go to work. Brush your hair. That's simple. Brushing your hair. In the case of Jason, I don't want to eat because I don't want to die. It's very, and when you go through this, you're just like, geez, what happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the hard part is that people still expect the same thing. So while you're going through this, they don't expect any less of you. They expect the same or more. So that has always been my issue with that. And, you know, they expect the same, there's still the same expectation. And like I said, in my life, I've always been the person that does everything and the go-getter, and even after the first accident, all that stuff. And if I'm saying there's a problem, there's, you know, definitely a problem. But the expectations are still there, you know, work and, you know, kids, and they all understand and that type of thing, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jason. I'm just so wowed at your story and wowed at the fact that you probably helped 10 other Jasons. You probably helped 10 other Annas. Do you have contact information of when it comes to food allergies and stuff like that, of how they can seek help? Are there groups out there for this? Because I think it's very important for people to get this information. If you have it, it would really be helpful.
No, I actually never really joined a group or anything, just kind of just through the doctors and stuff like that. Just the only thing I can really say that would be helpful is that if you eat something and you doesn't feel right, then go get checked like quick, because this just happened at 40. Like I mean, Chinese was, you know, sesame chicken my entire life, and you know, now I can't even go to Chinese restaurants because, you know, I don't know what they put in half the stuff, you know. And this, like I said, it just all sort of happened. Like I said, I was 40. I just turned 40. So, but that's really the key. If you'll know, you'll know. It's almost kind of like when it starts, it's almost like somebody shutting the light switch off. Like you kind of go into like this tunnel vision, and you're just like, and your brain just kind of goes, and you know. So I know, like when I eat something, it's obvious. Like usually it hits my brain first, and it's like I can't even explain it, but it's kind of like somebody shut the lights down, and you just like dim the lights in the room. I mean, and then you just kind of go into this, you know, physical thing. But you'll know. So a lot of it's itchiness and stuff like that, but it's also a mental thing.
The next thing is, what is your advice to the listening audience of when they get these weird panic attack, anxiety type feelings? What is this Jason? Because Jason, and this is what I want you guys to understand. Jason wanted to tell his story because he wanted to help somebody out there. And I got along with Jason so well that I was like, of course, just let me know when you're ready. He sent me a message. I reshuffled some things, and I put them on because I thought it was so important that people understand not only mental health, brushes with death, and not only the brush with death, eating, and the importance of food allergies. And stuff you can go through. So for you, what is your advice?
I think the biggest thing as far as like anxiety goes, you have to gain control and the power of your own brain. No matter how it gets, you have to say the opposite of what it's trying to do. I think there's been many nights where I just went to sleep. And it was kind of weird because that is when things started to turn for me a little bit, as I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this tonight. I'm going to sleep. And I just go to sleep, no matter what time it was. Sleep. And in a weird way, that kind of put power over my thoughts. Because like, all right, well, I'm going to have an anxiety attack. Fine. I'm just going to go to sleep. It's kind of sort of how it happened. Because I was sitting there a lot of nights and I'm like having an anxiety attack, or, I would just eat something and I'd sit there and I got to wait because it takes up to an hour. So I was literally towards the end, be like, okay, it's minute 59, 60, I'm good. And then it just go away. So I really just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat something and I'm going to wait 10 minutes. I don't have a reaction. I'm just going to go to sleep. Because it was literally every single night like that. Like every night. Typically during the day I was fine because I eat a lot. Like I said, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. So I usually I don't really have like a big lunch or anything. So I'll have celery and carrots and apples and bananas and stuff like that. But at nighttime, everybody wants to have a meal or whatever. And then, so I usually have like a late night snack or whatever. And that was the hardest one, was the one at the end of the day, because probably I'm already tired from fighting it. And then I was just like, no, I'm going to sleep.
It was a good thing then.
And in a way, it kind of put power over my brain.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't let it, because breathing wasn't working, especially when my body started mimicking the
heart attack.
Throat was closing. I thought like I was literally like going to just die right there, and I could breathe and I could get my anxiety under control, but the throat wasn't going away. So that was the big problem for me. So my brain was still tricking me to think that there was still an attack. So that just became the easiest thing to do at the time. And since I haven't had a huge amount. Every once in a while, but like I said, pretty safe now. So, but there would be days I didn't eat at all. It was like 3-4 days, like nothing, like just couldn't even, it had gotten to the point, like I couldn't even eat. Like I wasn't hungry. That was probably the lowest weight I'd been in 20 years.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. But I wasn't eating it. I'm kidding. But my body also wasn't signaling to eat anymore because I had been mentally exhausted from just eating and panicking, that it just almost like shut off the food, wanting to eat at all. Like I literally had to force myself, like yogurts and stuff like that, just to get something
in there.
But it was anything at that point. When I had gotten to that point, like it just didn't want to do anything. So, but that's the best advice. Like you just got to get power over your brain. Like
Amen.
Cases you can't, and it's hard, but I kind of tricked my brain to just go to sleep and
more than once.
Right. Just forget about it, I guess.
Jason, thank you so much for taking out your birthday and your busy schedule to give to others and give to Lunchtime with Anna. You are so appreciated.
And fun.
And I completely have the utmost respect for you. And, you know, I really got along with you and I met you and I told you. And anytime you'd like to come back,
okay,
you are more than welcome to. And if you have any friends or family that have a story, have them contact me and just have them say, Jason sent me. And just because I respect you so much, I'll put them up.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. Jason, finally, I'd like for you to give contact information because you guys might see him on TV very soon. He does like to act. on his time. And like I tell people, and Jason, please like back me up on this. Isn't it like the most funnest experience that you could have? A lot of sitting around, but
it is a lot. And that was my first gig too. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I had to wear my ice cream popsicle shirt. That's what I knew.
Right. Look, and you get free food.
And free food. Yeah, and free food. But it was fun. It was fun, and definitely enjoyed it. And I actually knew somebody there too. Like I had known them for years playing basketball. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. So, I did at the end, right? That you get no, it was at the beginning. At the beginning that you guys were like, "Hey, I knew you."
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like, wow, it's a small world.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. Even if I know, like I forget. I'm like,
that's typical of me though. Like I go places and I just know, just
great memory. It was a great day. It has been a pleasure interviewing you. I send a huge hug. God bless you, and you are more than welcome at any time you'd like to come back, because I'd like to follow up. And it'll probably be in next year's show to see how is Jason doing. Awesome. God bless each and every one of you guys. I will see you guys next week. And next week on Lunchtime with Anna, we have a super special show, super special guest. It'll be a surprise. And you guys, remember, the year is almost over. So I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you guys tune in next Friday at 12 p.m. God bless each and every one of you guys, and I love you guys. Ciao.